It's already week 4 NFL. He's Keg. I'm Kush. It is the NFL action plan here at Nuke the House, my friend. Wow, we already got 3 weeks done, huh? How much can we tell from each team now, Keg, that we're sitting here? How much have we learned about each team, and is there a big enough sample to make like concrete decisions as to how good a team is or not?
We've learned a lot. What's up, buddy? By the way,
Hi.
We've learned a lot. It usually takes about a month to get the power ratings really locked in. I think going into week 5, we should have a good idea of where these teams are at. So I think we got one more week.
One more week, and then we'll really go bananas. I mean, some weird stuff happened. Did you get my text about the coach of the year, by the way?
No.
Then we're not going to bother with it. I just had the first coach of the year fired odds. I thought it was fascinating.
Oh, I could tell you who that'll be.
Who is it?
Doug Peterson, probably.
Yeah, and then you know who's right there?
Who?
McCarthy.
Oh, yeah, I'll buy that.
You think Jerry Jones makes a move in the middle of the season? He loves this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think right now the Jaguars are in disarray. And Peter, what are the odds on Peterson right now?
All right, so Peterson's plus 50, 150. Mike McCarthy 450, Dable 800, Zach Taylor 900, Eberflus 10-1, and Stefanski 10-1.
Yeah,
Antonio Pierce is 12-1.
That's not bad. That's value, because that guy is a shit show.
Yeah, he's a mess.
But reports were that Khan was livid after that Buffalo game on Monday night. So I don't think Doug Peterson's got a long way to go if they don't start winning football games.
It doesn't make sense because they have talent. And we actually, after the first 2 weeks, said, all right, so they had a couple losses, but this is not a bad team. But the Raiders and the Jaguars look like they just quit. And Pierce called out his players with the Raiders. I didn't see anything like that from Peterson. Ken.
He did. He said that there are players on this team that have made business decisions, and we will do the same. So here's the thing about the Jags. How do you square Trevor Lawrence playing worse this year than his rookie year? I mean, that's hard to square. Maybe he's just not it.
I mean, a lot of us are starting to think that, Keg. I thought he would be. Again, after his freshman year at Clemson, he was the best quarterback prospect probably ever. Like, what kind of a freshman had done what he had done in recent memory? Nobody. Yeah, and he wasn't quite as amazing the next couple of years, but he should be better than this. And it might be because the organization's awful. I talk about that all the time, Keg, all the time. There's just certain franchises you're born into and they can't get out of their ways. I think Cleveland's one of them. Even though we got Daniels playing well through the first 3 games of the season, I think Washington is one of them. Go back and look at what has happened in Washington over the years. You have to be a transcendent quarterback to succeed in some of these organizations. And while I thought Trevor Lawrence was that guy, it doesn't really seem like it right now.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, when the Jets won those meaningless games at the end of the year for us not to draft him number 1, I was on suicide watch. But fast forward, I'm happy that he's not our quarterback because he ain't it, man. But that being said, look what O'Connell's doing in Minnesota with Darnold.
Yep.
So maybe it's not Lawrence. Maybe it is the coaching staff, but it's hard to square him looking better with Urban Meyer than Doug Peterson.
Oof, Urban Meyer, man, that was a complete. So he basically lost his rookie year. Lawrence did. We'll get to the Jaguars. We got a lot to discuss with the Jaguars too. We're going to break down the Thursday night game. We're going to break down the Sunday games in 1 o'clock and the 4 o'clock window. We won't do Sunday night or Monday night this week. So just so you know that, hit the like button. We'd appreciate it. Be good for us, which means maybe it's good for you. And then if you're watching on X, come on over to YouTube. Go to the Nuke the House channel and make sure you subscribe and turn on your notifications. And really, if you're watching on YouTube right now and you haven't subscribed, please do so. That'd be wonderful. We do have a free week trial. Sign up for any plan. We won't charge you. Use the code NUKENFL, NUKENFL, and you will get a free week. Okay, my friend, let's get to it. We've got Dallas visiting the Giants. So this is a 6-point spread now. Dallas, 6-point favorites, and there's a lot here. So Dak has won 12 straight against the Giants. 12 straight. We've seen what's going on with this run defense with the Cowboys. We've discussed it. I think we talked about it on Monday a little bit too. They're giving up 185.7 rush yards per game. That's 7 yards worse than the 31st worst team, which is the Colts. So that's the first thing I think we got to get into with the boys. And then how bad has their run defense been? Opposing quarterbacks have thrown 31 times over the last 2 weeks against them. 31 total times.
Yep.
That's how bad their run defense has been. Plus, we're up still. This is a bad scene for that side of the ball for the Cowboys, Keg.
Yeah, I mean, I can only look towards Dallas here. I think this is a good spot for them to get right, even though they're on the road. The good news is for them, the Giants don't have a quarterback that's any good. I mean, who's their running back right now? Devin Singletary? Yeah, I mean, I don't fear Devin Singletary, and I don't fear that offensive line, which is not very good for the New York Giants at all. So while it seems like a lot of points to lay with a team that's 1-2, it would be the only way that I could look tomorrow night. I'll tell you that. I think this is a good game for Dallas to get back on track and pull a little bit of margin.
I don't love your call on Singletary. He's averaging almost 5 yards a carry, 4.7. He scored a couple times. He's caught 9 balls through 3 games too. But this is not the transcendent running back like Derrick Henry that ran all over him, right?
Correct.
I don't think Singletary is garbage. I really don't. He finally got out of Buffalo and shown a little bit of life.
Okay. I don't like him. I don't like him.
That's Keg's nice way of saying you're wrong.
No, I just said okay.
So is this a lean toward the Cowboys or is this the Cowboys?
I haven't bet anything in this game yet, but right now I'm leaning towards the Cowboys. Yeah. I'm not sure what I will end up betting in this game as of right now, but in terms of the side and total, I lean over just because if the Giants can consistently get that running game going, they'll probably score some points. And Dimes hasn't looked awful the last week and a half. So I think that they could score enough points to both get over the number. But I think Dallas -5.5 is probably the look.
Now you're probably going to say, I like that. But Iowa threw this up here. I took CeeDee Lamb 25 plus each half, but it's only even money. With that being said, Lamb was very tough on himself in his media availability. He's like, I had horrible body language. I didn't play well. It's all on me. And I'm going to go and turn it up here in week number 4.
I would be interested to know what the number is on Lamb and Neighbors to each have 25 yards in each half combined together.
Ooh. I'll go look that up while we're talking about the next game. That's kind of sexy. Yeah. I don't mind that at all. And basically FanDuel's the only one that offers that, right?
Yeah, it's a special.
Yeah, the receiving special.
Yep.
Yeah, because Neighbors to get 25 in each half is plus 130. Lamb is minus 105 now. And then I'm not seeing, here we go. CD and Neighbors to get 25 plus receiving yards in each half, 4-1.
That's not bad.
That's the way you would attack that?
That could definitely happen for sure.
All right. So we're getting 4-1 on that. I'll see if I'm going to bet it as the show goes on. Let's go. Like button. We'd love it. Let's get to our first Sunday game here. And we're just going on the DraftKings numbers. Broncos, Jets. Broncos just lost middle linebacker Alex Singleton. That's a big loss for this defense. He was a very, very crucial part of this team, especially on that side of the ball. The Broncos are getting 7.5. The total is paltry, man. It's just 39.5 in this game. I did want to bring up a couple things. First of all, I know Jets fans such as yourself are a little frustrated about Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson. And I think they get it right, just not this week, because Patrick Surtain has been shadowing the number 1 wide receivers. And I still think Surtain is the best cornerback in the league. Mike Evans, 17 yards on 2 catches. He was targeted 3 times in the game. I mean, I don't see Garrett Wilson going nuts this week. It's going to happen soon, though, Keg. What about the Broncos and the Jets? Because this thing's up to 7.5. It was sitting at 7, I saw.
Yeah, that's a sharp take. I kind of agree with that this week with Garrett Wilson. Jets were as high as 8.5. And then they were bet down to about 7, and now we're back up to about 7.5 market wide. This number feels like it's dead on the money to me. There was probably some value on the Bucks at 8.5, much like last week. I said I thought the 6.5 there was value on them against the Bucks. At 7.5 this week, it feels right. My concern is like I don't know if the Jets are locked in yet. And in order to cover these type of spreads in the National Football League, you have to really be firing on all cylinders. Now, granted, Aaron Rodgers looked absolutely phenomenal last week. He turned back the clock for sure, but it still makes me uncomfortable laying this type of number, especially when you start digging in to the Jets' pace of play metrics, which have slowed down the last couple of weeks. I thought that the Broncos would cover the side last week because they were playing a defense that was decimated with injuries, and they were average at best when they were fully healthy. It was a great get right spot finally for Bo Nix. The Jets defense is not a weakened Bucks defense. It's a top 5 defense. But it still makes me hesitant to lay the number, but I think the Jets win the game. So I'll probably bet the Jets in a teaser this week if the number doesn't change on Herbert in the KC game. So that's kind of where I'm at right now.
So, yeah, and Herbert's out of a walking boot. We can get to that a little bit later on. But yeah, that's the first couple of games we're getting to. And we had a comment last week. I think the guy's like, you guys suck. I lost a lot of money. All you ever do is talk about signing up for your site. Well, yeah, it's a free show, dumbass. You know, I don't know what else we can tell you to try and win money. All you got to do is make the bets.
I make so much money betting on sports that comment literally means nothing to me. Fuck that guy. How about that?
Well, no, I mean, I just wanted to bring it up. You know, when we do YouTube shorts, should I put that on there? Should I put
clip this
that to that guy?
Clip this. Hey,
yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Like I said, it's a free show, so I'm going to plug the hell out of it. You're a member. We do our member shows. I don't have to plug it. If you want to check us out and you haven't checked us out yet, I don't know what you're waiting for because we're only giving you a free week here. I think we're going to stop this promotion either in the next week or 2. So you want to dip your toe in the water here, it's going to cost you nothing. NukeTheHouse.com. Sign up for any plan. We won't charge you. Just put in the code NUKENFL, NUKENFL. Is this Clint? I demanded he depends an apology, but I think he demands one too.
He depends an apology. Yeah, he demands one too.
Yeah. It's the next game we're getting to, the Vikings and the Packers. Okay. So before we do that, Vikings getting 2.5 on the road, 43.5 is the total. This spread, Keg, tells me that Jordan Love is going to play. No doubt about that. And then the Vikings are third in scoring, 28.3 points per game. Do they get their first loss of the season this week?
This team, Holden.
Which team?
The bane of my existence. Yeah. The look-ahead line for this game, Packers -2.5, like you just said, basically means Love's going to play. Look-ahead line on the total, I think, was 44, dipped down to as low as 38.5 at one point. I don't know why, but now we're seeing 44 basically across the board. When we saw this line, I was like, okay, Love's playing, but is he healthy? Right? They designated him as limited, so I assume if he's good to go, then you have to assume that he's healthy and he won't get hurt during the game and he's a go, because I just cannot see them leveraging the future for one game in week 4. It doesn't make sense to me. Here's my issue with the line. If he plays the game and he is healthy, this line should be higher than 2.5.
Can I tell you exactly what the quote is from our guy, Ian Rappaport? Love's back at practice, willing to play at less than 100%. Makes sense he'll be out there since it's the Vikings. So he's not going to be 100%, obviously, but what percentage? And he's talking to the media. Normally, guys that aren't going to play don't talk to the media.
I think that this line should be like 3 minus $1.20 is kind of where I think this line should be. Because even if you take the 2 points out for home field, and that's not even really a fair number at Lambeau, it's closer to 3. So that means that they're saying that the Minnesota Vikings right now are a half-point favorite on a neutral. I can't get there. The Packers defense is one of the most underrated, under the radar defenses. And I don't think it's fully priced into the market. And I think that these teams are similar in a lot of ways. They're both good. The Minnesota Vikings, I'll say it every week, they're a good football team. But week to week, if you have 2 good football teams, I'm always going to err on the side of the quarterback that I respect more. And that's Jordan Love, not Sam Darnold. Although what O'Connell is doing with Sam Darnold is nothing short of spectacular. I'll give them that. That coaching staff is as legit as it gets, and that team is rock solid. But so are the Packers, and they're home, and they have Love. And I think that this line should be a field goal at worst. So I'm going to say anything better, 2.5 or better. I'm going to lean Green Bay. I'm not sure if I'm going to bet this game until I actually see Jordan Love playing in the game. But right now, I'll lean Green Bay minus 2.5. As far as the total, I kind of lean over. Doesn't this total feel low to you?
Well, the Vikings defense.
It's a division game, though. I'll give you that.
And let me say it again. Like we talked about this Monday, the Vikings defense has been the unsung hero of this team.
Yeah, Flores
has completely turned them around. Nobody's really putting the same. Look what they did to Stroud.
All you hear anybody that like in the community talking about is like how good Flores' scheme has been through the first 3 weeks.
Yeah.
And they're right. I mean, that Minnesota Vikings defense is legit. Like it's legit. But I mean, the Green Bay Packers have a good offense. So I think it's going to be a good game. I kind of feel like even though it's a division game, this number feels low to me, 43.5. Okay. I'm going to lean over, and I'm going to lean the Packers, but I wouldn't bet the Packers until I saw Love playing and saw that he looked good.
And Clint talked about Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is averaging like 6 yards a carry. When this guy is on the field, he's one of the most dynamic offensive playmakers in the league. He has been remarkable. So the Packers, they know him pretty well. Little revenge spot for him, maybe, if you want to throw Narrative Street in there. But this is going to be a great game. This might be my favorite game of the whole 1 o'clock slate. Actually, it is my favorite game of the 1 o'clock slate. It's 2 teams. I think the Vikings still got to prove that they're NFC champion caliber. And if they could do it this week against the Packers, then I think it's time to buy in. Our next game is going to be the Steelers and the Colts. So a lot going on in this game. Steelers on the road. They're 1.5 favorites on the road. I actually saw Colts +2. 39.5 is the total. So let's talk about the Colts for a second. Since we talked about the Dallas rushing defense, which is the worst, the Colts are next up. They will be facing a Steelers team with some banged up running backs, though. Najee, as of this recording, this is Wednesday afternoon, he has not practiced. And Jaylen Warren does not look like he's going to practice. Now, if they can get Najee out there, I think they're going to be all right. But that's a big one. You've got Justin Fields making really good decisions, Keg. This is absolutely shocking to a lot of people. He's been good against the blitz. Arthur Smith, who was a complete idiot with the Falcons as a head coach, is now over there, and he's having Justin Fields get the ball out quicker. So that's big. I'd like to see Roman Wilson get out there, the rookie, to make his debut. I think he can make an impact because he doesn't have a lot to go to in the passing game. And the only other thing I'll say about this is I will go back once again. Once we can get Anthony Richardson, anytime interception right around even money, it's time to bet it again because this guy just is decision-making. Did you see what he did in the end zone last week? They're sitting there like 2 yards away from and he ends up throwing it right to an opposing defender. As much as we love this kid from an arm strength standpoint and, just a running standpoint, horrible decision making. And he's still a rookie basically because he only played in a few games last year.
Yep. I agree. Definitely be on his interception as soon as the juice comes down in game. So this was the first game I bet this week. Number's gone now, so I can talk about it. I was talking to Iowa after the Sunday night football game. He asked me what I thought about the line in that game. And when he told me what it was, I immediately felt like that line was wrong. The Steelers should be laying a field goal in this game, in my opinion, on the road against a quarterback that looks legitimately lost in space. And that's the reason that we've seen this line move from the Steelers like -10 to now they're -2 in some spots. I think that they're going to close above that. That's my gut. I saw some people I respect this week talking about how they think that the Colts are the side. And I just don't know how you can get there if Pittsburgh's not playing the best defense right now, they're in the top 3. And the pressure that they bring, I don't know how that kid is going to be able to deal with it. When he makes some throws, when he has time, that make you scratch your head and like he's literally seeing ghosts.
Yep.
So the total's gone back and forth all week. Open 40, got pushed down to the high 30s. Now we're back about 40 market wide. There are some concerns with injuries for Pittsburgh. Like you said, it looks like Najee will play. There's a shot Warren won't. There's also a possibility that they're missing a piece in the front 7. But regardless, that defense has such an edge in this game over a quarterback that's probably played the worst QB play in the league through 3 weeks, with the exception of Bryce Young. So Tomlin lives for these spots. And while I didn't have the Steelers going 4-0 to start the year, that defense is playing at too high of a level not to be in this game the entire way through against a struggling Indianapolis Colts offense. So what's crazy actually is that the Colts are actually top 3 right now in offensive yards per play. But then I watch Anthony Richardson throw a football and I'm like, nope.
Well, Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah, stats don't tell the story.
He's literally unstoppable.
Yeah, and you know what? He'll be slowed down substantially.
He'll throw all 11 in the box.
Yeah,
I dare you to throw the football, Richardson. He'd still throw it out of bounds.
So yeah, I feel like Pittsburgh's the side here for sure.
I don't blame you. And I'm with you. I think it probably should be a field goal. And where did you get it at? Colts minus or Steelers -2?
-110. I got. We bet it
on the money line.
Yeah.
Ooh, a money line bet. Okay. I actually, if I could have found the Colts I might throw a little parlay in here this week, which is going to be a loser, but I actually might take the Colts like +4 because I do think they have a shot to win this thing outright and pair it with another team. Maybe even throw the Vikings up to, an all total on the Vikings here. Actually, you could tease that, right? I guess you could tease the Colts to 7.5.
Yep.
And then go with the Vikings to 8.5. That's a teaser I'll look into after the show.
There are actually a lot of teasable sides this week.
Yeah. I mean, let's see how many. We got the Browns and the Raiders, the Bills and the Ravens, 2.5. We got another 2 with the Eagles and Tampa Bay, Saints and Falcons, 2.5, Rams, Bears, 2.5, 1.5 with the Steelers, Colts, 2.5 with the Vikings, Packers. So yeah, ton of teasable spots. Do you think this will be a teaser week for us?
Maybe. I have to really go through it all. I know that there's at least one that I'll probably bet. I have to go through the rest, but normally the books don't like to give you 8 teasable sides in a week, but you could tease just about any game you want this week.
They're stuck. They're absolutely stuck. At some point in time, these dogs are going to stop covering too in the bigger numbers.
Yeah, I mean, how much longer can dogs of 5.5 points or more go 14-2 against the spread or whatever it is? It's crazy.
So, like, we're talking about the Jaguars would cover this week, the Broncos would cover this week, the Giants would cover this week. The Chargers against the Chiefs. Woo! There's a lot of interesting stuff happening out here, buddy. Like button would be great. And I want to remind you, if you didn't already know, we are live betting every single NFL game. Even if Keg's gone, I'm going to find a way to get home and do it for Keg. You might miss a show or two. Some emergency might pop up, but we still have a great stable of bettors too. I know Iowa's in the chat there. And if you got any bets that you want to throw in our chat, we'll discuss them if you want to. Throw them in the chat. You got questions about a bet? You got a bet you want us to talk about, or you just want to say, hey, this is what I'm on? Throw it in the chat. No problem. Jason Graham, sheesh. We already bet the Steelers.
Mitch said Justin Fields isn't winning his third road game this week. I like the Colts. I mean, he doesn't have – I don't think he has to do much. Like, I could see the Pittsburgh defense scoring 2 touchdowns on Sunday.
I'm with Mitch. I think as bad as the Colts, as Richardson's been, I think they can hang in this thing. Here's the big problem, the mismatch in the run game. And you would think, oh, Jonathan Taylor has the advantage, but as bad as the Colts have been against the run, like Najee should just go bananas.
Should.
Can he go bananas at this point in his career? Jeff likes By the way, Jeff just loves taking shots at Keg's Jets. So Broncos money line. They lost Baron Browning and now Singleton on defense and one of their offensive linemen. Man, this Broncos team's in a bit of trouble right now. All right, next game that we got to get into. Let's go to the Rams and the Bears. Both teams are 1-2. The Rams had a remarkable come from behind victory to take out the Niners last week. Thank you, Ronnie Bell. Appreciate that. So with Puka and Kupp out, who are the guys we talked about last week? Demarcus Robinson, Jordan Whittington, Johnson. Nope. Tutu Atwell, 5 catches, 93 yards. Go figure, man. Actually, 4 catches on 5 targets. So that was a talking point we had last week. Tutu was the guy last week. I don't know if it's something that we can really take in next week or in this week's game and say, all right, he did this last week. Is he going to do this again? It might be kind of a rotating cast of characters. Who is the big man in that passing game? But Keg, I want to go to the other side. You and I will agree. Just answer this real quick. That Eberflus is a complete potato head, right? This guy is clueless. All right. Yeah. So he comes out in his press conference and he says, Caleb, he laid into Caleb Williams in a very nice way. He's like, he needs better ball protection. He needs to be smarter with his decision-making. His decision-making isn't good, which is all true. The guy has 5 turnovers through the first 3 games. He's got 4 interceptions and a fumble. So this is an interesting game. Rams are getting 2.5 on the road, and the total's 41. Can the Rams win this thing outright at +20?
Eberflus is going to be the scapegoat for this bad year that Caleb Williams is about to have.
Should be, though.
This line was like 3 on Sunday night. Sharp money back. The Rams went down to 2.5. I think that's basically where we're at right now. Bears -2.5. As high as 25 though. So like really? Yeah, this line's really like 3 to be fair right now, because like 2 minus $1.25 is like 3, probably slightly above.
Okay.
So with all the injuries from the Rams and what they're dealing with, makes me think that the Bears are live here to get a win at home. I thought that the Bears would get their first win of the year last week against the Colts. And to be fair, they had plenty of opportunities to win that game, but they just could not get it done. Right now, Caleb Williams doesn't even look like the best quarterback in his class.
No.
Never mind rookie of the year. I mean, like, he threw 2 picks last week at inopportune times. And really, until that offensive line on the Bears has a pulse, this kid's got no shot. He has no time to throw the football. So it's going to get worse before it gets better. The Rams, like you said, they should have lost last week. They probably get an undeserved bump on the line off that win that really isn't warranted. And considering the 49ers were like, 99% to win that game at one point. So the fact that we're even able to win the game shows you how much of a monster McVay is, despite the 49ers dealing with their own injuries. Slight lean to the Bears here. As far as the total goes, open 41. Now it's about 40 and a half. That feels right to me. I don't know how many points you can consistently expect out of Chicago right now. The weapons are great, but a young quarterback needs an offensive line, and right now they don't have one. So, but even still, slight lean to the Bears. Like eventually, it's going to go right for them. Am I betting this game? Do I have any interest in betting this game? No. We'll evaluate live. Maybe we could find some player props, but slight lean to the Bears.
The Bears. All right, pal. It's time for you to plug the site now. NFL, MMA, NASCAR. That's why most of the people are here, apparently. And our new people, hopefully you're here for the NFL. But the NASCAR product always kills it, Keg. It's not just the NFL here, in all seriousness. NBA
True.
is starting up soon. We'll have Spread Astaire and maybe a couple other guys on that. NHL is starting up soon. We'll have Zargo on that. So we're not just a three-trick pony with NASCAR and MMA and NFL. I think we do golf pretty well, too. What do we got going on at the site right now?
Daily picks, daily articles, betting guides for select NFL games, every MMA card, every NASCAR Cup race, every PGA tournament Coop does, and legitimately the most in-game betting live streams on the internet. Probably 30 hours a week right now I'm doing of content. It's a lot, but the guys like it, and we win more than just about any shop out there, which isn't even debatable. I mean, honestly, when I'm looking at people charging $3,000 for their NFL package and making 30 units, and then I think about what I do for people, it's a joke. Legitimately a joke. So, I mean, if you guys want endless hours of content, endless hours of entertainment, and winners, this is the place for you.
That was a very nice sales. We still need to get Joey Work on here just to scream into a camera, but that was pretty good, my friend. Nuke NFL, N-U-K-E NFL. Sign up for any package. We won't charge you. Sign up for the free week. After that, you're going to have to resubscribe yourself. And we should have like a $3,000 package personally. So you can get grandfathered in at $59.99 when we go to $3,000 package. Imagine that deal, Keg. How great is that deal? Who's not going to sign up for that?
That's not bad.
Yeah,
I think it's bad. a $2,939 discount. That's not bad.
No, and don't forget about the penny.
My bad.
And I did forget. You know what? Don't worry about it. That's an inside joke. So let's move on to the Bengals and the Panthers. Another 1:00 game. Bengals laying 4 on the road. 47 is the total. So a couple things going on here. The Red Rifle, Andy Dalton facing his old team. We got the revenge game narrative. That's the first thing. Second of all, the Bengals always suck earlier in the year. Maybe this is the week that they get it going. Third of all, back to Dalton. 319 and 3 touchdowns, basically in 3 quarters because he didn't have to do anything in the fourth quarter. 8 for 122 for Deontay Johnson, who was just garbage because Bryce Young was out there. Now you have a mildly competent quarterback. So I'm interested in your thoughts on this one, Keg. Again, the Bengals are going to get it straight. I still think they get it straight this week. But my first question for you is then, is Andy Dalton for real?
Oh, God, that's so hard to know after 1 week. Like, I wish we knew whether or not he was going to be this year's Joe Flacco.
Mm-hmm.
I just can't tell that yet after 4 quarters. But, man, he paid us out already in 1 start. So it's a good start. The look-ahead line in this game was 4.5. The market hit the button on the Panthers, went down to 4. Right now, we're at 4. So it's basically been consistent Bengals money to get that line back to 4.5 in some spots. Listen, you want the God's honest truth?
Yes.
I don't really care who wins this game. I have no opinion on the side. The line feels right to me where it is right now. I think that the better bets to make in this game are to attack the player props market. I won't be on many players pregame this week, but the two guys that I will be on are in this game, and we're probably going to have about 8 props in this game that we're going to be on for our subscribers, which I'm not going to mention right now. I already put 5 of them so far in the in-game room that we're already on. But yeah, I mean, God, talk about a must-win for the Cincinnati Bengals. If they drop this game, they will be 0-4, and the Panthers will be 2-2. What a world 2024 is. I don't really see it either. I'm with you. I think they have to do enough to get this game. They have to. But do I think that the Panthers offense is going to move the ball with the way that this defense has looked through 3 weeks? I do. I think they're going to score their own points. And that's why you're looking at a total that was as high as 48.5. Now it's down to 47, but that's a high total for a Panthers game right now. And I think it's warranted. I think we're going to see points.
Well, yeah, and as far as the total goes, 54% of the bets are on the over, 72% of the handles on the under. So a lot of sharp money pushing that line down.
Yep.
100%. Next game to discuss. Ooh, Kirk Cousins saying the Falcons Saints rivalry is just like the Packers and the Bears. I don't think settle down there, Kirk. But he looked good these last 2 weeks. He's looked pretty good. The Saints are getting 2.5 on the road. What's this line if these two teams were playing last week? Would the Saints be probably even money on the road if this game was played last week?
2.5
right now. I don't think that they could have priced the Saints as a favorite, but here we are today. So let's get into this.
Look ahead line says 2.5, but
okay.
I don't know if that was before last week.
Yeah, it's yeah. Okay. Well, it's 2.5 now. The Falcons are laying 2.5 at home. 42 is the total. If you want to back the Saints on the money line plus 14, you want to back the Falcons minus 135. This is just DraftKings. We could shop around for better numbers, but Keg, I'll ask you again. Do you believe in the Saints? Do you believe in the Falcons?
I think I believe in the Falcons. I'm not sure if I believe in the Saints. So there hasn't been a ton of line movement in this game. Totals basically fluctuated between a half point, the side two. My first question is, was the injury report released for this game yet? Do you know?
I'll go check it out for you. There's got to be.
Because there are people that are saying that the Saints injury report is going to be devastating this week.
Kamara didn't practice. I know that for a fact.
Like, obviously, the Saints center.
Check this out, Keg. You asked. Both team centers went on injured reserve.
Right.
Both team centers went on injured reserve. We had no Alante Taylor, no Demario Davis. These are pretty big on the defensive side of the ball. A Saints guard, so they're already without their center. Cesar Ruiz, their guard, is out today, and then Kamara is out. And for Atlanta, they got Caleb McGarry, one of their tackles, who is banged up. So it's the Saints with a laundry list.
Yeah. So I was waiting for this injury report all week because I heard on Monday morning that it might be real bad for New Orleans. So yeah, I kind of think now that the injury report is out, I kind of feel like the Falcons are the side here.
Ooh. Okay. How quickly we have turned on the Saints.
I mean, I haven't backed the Saints one time this year because I don't know if they're for real or not. I don't rate Carr very highly as a quarterback. And the defense has played better than I thought it was, but it's been their strong part of the team now for a few years. So I thought they would be the best unit on the field for them. But yeah, I kind of feel like Atlanta's starting to look better. Granted, they lost that game against KC last week, but I thought the offense over the last 6 quarters has looked better than the first 6 quarters. So Falcons feel like the side. I didn't take them when they were a minus 120, But now that I know that the injury report is in, I might take them. I might take them.
Iowa Saints beat Bryce Young and a bad Dallas team. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I still don't buy the Saints. I need 4 weeks to see a team before I believe them. Okay, because I saw a really bad Saints team like 20 something years ago go 4-0 and then miss the playoffs and just get crushed. We see it all the time. Teams get out the hot start and then they just flame out. So I'm not buying into this. I don't think the Saints are a bad team. I still don't buy them being a really, really good team.
I would be surprised if this line doesn't get to 3 with all that injury news. I don't know if it'll close at 3, but I think it's definitely going to get to 3 at some point in the week.
Stenberg, 100 plus for Rashid Shaheed, 750. That's 2 catches for him.
Yeah, that could happen. Yeah. That could happen for sure.
It's 2 catches for him. No question. Like button would be great. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Nuke the House, especially if you're on X right now. Come on over to YouTube, go to the Nuke the House page, subscribe, get notifications so you know when we're on the air. We have so many shows coming up here. It's ridiculous. Monday and Wednesday, Keg and I do shows. Like this one, of course. We've got Thursday's show is going to be me, Zargo, and Spread breaking down Thursday Night Football and a couple plays they like on Sunday. That's at 4:00. And our other 4:00 show is on Fridays, Nuke the Props, which has been pretty good so far. So that is what we have for you. We also have for you Jacksonville getting 6.5 on the road at the Texans. Now, you can tell me that this means nothing. That's fine. But I remember Stroud just torching the Jaguars last year. 584 yards and 4 touchdowns, right? But before we get into any of this, what did last week's performance from C.J. Stroud and the Texans tell you about this team moving forward? Because they were completely dominated by the Vikings.
Tells me that a young team hasn't fully learned how to win yet when they're expected to. That's basically where I'm at with them, because I forget at times how young they are.
Yeah. Then we go to Jacksonville, right? So 28th in red zone efficiency allowed. They're horrible there. They're horrible giving up points, 28.3. Josh Allen just ate them up. They can't defend the pass. They're giving up over 250 yards a game. Their quarterback is a complete dumpster fire right now. He's going in the wrong direction. I don't even know if Trevor Lawrence makes it out of this game if he struggles early, Keg. I truly believe that he could get benched this week with that contract. And if Peterson has to do that and they don't turn it around fast, you're right. He gone. So this is an interesting one. 6.5 is a lot of points, but how do you not see Houston at least bouncing back and playing well in this one?
Yeah, I don't really disagree. Interesting line movement in this game. We've seen a basic tug of war all week. Both sides were bought at like 6 and 6.5. And while we saw 7s out there this week where it looked like maybe the Texans money was taking over, it got shot right back down to 6.5. The real question for me is, like, the Texans looked very bad against the Vikings. Now, granted, we made a couple units in the game, should have been 8, but I digress. But like, my point is, despite the horrific loss on the road last week to the Vikings, this line went from 4.5 on the look ahead line and reopened at 6. And the Texans still took money.
Yeah.
That tells me everything that I need to know in this game. My guess is that because the Jaguars looked about as bad as a team can look against Buffalo on Monday night, we're starting to hear the whole, like, Doug Peterson's on the hot seat in a big way. Then you tell me he's now plus $1.50 to be the first coach fired. The Jags have issues in the secondary with possible injuries. So the Texans defense should be able to exploit and get whatever they want in this game. And so should the offense. And we know that Stroud is a much better against zone coverage than he is against man coverage. And the Jags play zone coverage a ton. So all of that equals a get-right spot for the Houston Texans, and I'll probably be on them. I still think that this team is the third best team in the AFC behind KC and Buffalo right now. And they should handle a team right now in the Jaguars that have a quarterback that currently looks worse than his rookie campaign. So get right spot for Houston. Give me the Texans.
Last year against man coverage. Okay. And that's what Jackson was going to run, a ton of man coverage. 53.7% completion percentage for Stroud. That's interesting. That's interesting. Here's something else that's interesting. You said the line moved a lot, right? 36% of the bets are on the Jaguars. 73% of the handles on the Jaguars. What the hell's going on here? So super sharp money has come in on Jacksonville, but the line still moved. Don't get it.
Yeah, I'm not buying it.
It doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense. But again, the way this NFL
the
season
Houston
is going,
Texans are so much better than the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yeah.
It's not even funny. And nobody talks about how good. Now, granted, they got cooked by fucking Sam Darnold, which is hard to square. But that defense has played very well this year. Very well. Much better than expectations, with the exception of that game. So, yeah, I mean, I think the Texans are the side at anything under a touchdown.
Okay, my friend, let's move on to believe this is our last 1 o'clock game. It is. Did you know there's 2 more Monday night games this week? We got a doubleheader again.
No.
You do now.
I knew that. What game besides Detroit and Seattle?
Tennessee and Miami, which will be a complete shit show.
Jesus Christ.
Like, you can't, thank God we got a doubleheader, because we can't get a worse matchup right now than the Titans and the Dolphins with whoever the hell's back. If it's not Skylar Thompson, it's Huntley.
Thank God. Now I don't mind that we have 2.
Yeah, let's just go on at 8:15.
For real. For real. Yeah.
We could still find bets in the bad games, though. There's no question about that. We'll be live for both. Monday night games. Eagles Bucks. Eagles laying 2 on the road. 44 is the total. Interesting, Keg. So the Eagles got on track, no question. The Buccaneers got just curb stomped. It was by Washington, right?
Buccaneers got curb stomped by Denver.
Denver, that's what it was. Yes, they beat Washington. So Denver goes in there, has their best game of the year, might be their best game of the year. Seriously. So we got a team that is a pretty good team in Tampa Bay coming off a horrific loss, and an Eagles team that is battling to win in spite of their head coach, Nick Sirianni, who, by the way, Jason Kelce says is a great coach. Good job, Kelce. You're still sucking his own dick. You're sucking his dick. There's no reason for that. Anybody that watches the NFL can tell Sirianni's a dipshit.
He is such a dipshit.
I didn't say any bad words until I just went off on Sirianni.
Hey man, when you're right, Holden.
You want to go with the Eagles in this game? What do we want? I want to look at the money real quick once again. Oh, the sharps and the publics on the Eagles -2. The interesting thing here is 70% of the handle is on the under, whereas 51% of the bets are on the over. So a lot of money coming in on the under.
See, I don't know yet, because this game really comes down to injuries. The line's sitting at 2.5 right now, but the line is going to move, I think, and possibly substantially off the injury news. The Eagles could be down A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Lane Johnson, and Mekhi Becton.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane. On the flip side, the Bucks could still be missing Vita Vea, Winfield, possibly Cansey. So before we can evaluate who wins the game and what the line in total should be, we need to know more. So it's a total pass for now. But what I will say is that if Brown, Smith, and Johnson are out, and this line stays around the same or even remotely the same, I'll probably be on the Bucks, I think, because the adjustment wouldn't be big enough at that point. But I would like to see if the Bucks defenders are back first.
Vita Vea practicing today.
Okay. What did they say about Brown, Smith, Lane Johnson, and Beckton?
That's completely up in the air. And I remember seeing this. He's like, we'll have contingency plans if Smith doesn't play. And he also mentioned that, Brown is no shoe in to play this week. But how do you bet this game unless
Right.
either one or both of these guys are in there?
Exactly.
So
we need to know more.
Kind of a wait and see on that one. Like button would be great. Let's do it. Come on, folks. Help us out. Help yourself out. Good mojo. Nukethehouse.com. Free week for you. Nuke NFL is the code. All you got to do, go to nukethehouse.com. Sign up for a plan. We won't charge you. You're going to have to re-up. But one free week with the code Nuke NFL. NUKENFL. We got through the early games. Now, hold on. We got the Patriots visiting the San Francisco 49ers, which we bet ahead. New England plus 10 seems live, says Jeff. Pat's defense pretty good. Niners offense more handicapped. Oh, jeez. I didn't read that before I read it. Anyways, Keg, this is a big number. It's the Patriots plus 10 on the road. 40.5 is the total. At this point, a lot of questions about the Niners, though. A lot of questions. Ayuk needs to get going already.
One note about that Texans game that I was just thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
Can you name a wide receiver that you want to back more in a game where man coverage is probably going to be 80% of the game than
Nico Collins? Nico the Freako.
I might have to bet a third player prop this week.
I got in trouble with my ex because my daughter kept learning all the bad words when she was 7 from this kid named Nico. So I called him Nico the Freako. And then the kids started calling him Nico the Freako, and it wasn't good. So I said, stop calling him Nico the Freako. We got Nico Collins. We call him Nico the Freako.
I live in a perpetual state of in trouble with my ex.
Yeah, me too.
So like when I say, hey, I'm not in trouble with my ex.
We're just in the same boat at different times. It's just we're in the twilight zone with our exes.
Holy shit, it's a good day today.
Yeah, I haven't heard from her today. It's wonderful. Okay, back to this game then. And thank you for bringing up Nico the Freako because I think that's a great point. But the Patriots-Niners, I think we already got a bet in on this, but not from this week.
We do. we could talk about it. So we already have action on this game we bet after week 1. Unfortunately, I didn't know that the 49ers would lose legitimately every weapon that they have for a couple weeks and drop 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
So we're sitting on the Pats, I think, minus 11.5 because we were thinking that the line would be probably closer to 14 by the time this week rolled around. Unfortunately, the Niners lose back-to-back games because of injuries. The line's 10 now. But I'll be honest, I'm not worried. I still think we cover that number.
11.5?
Yeah. When
they're letting me cash out of $100 bet for $76.
Don't cash out.
Don't cash out.
No, I think we're okay.
Woo! Okay, let's hear it. I think
we're okay. When you consider how average to below average the Niners looked against the Vikings and Rams when they had basically nobody, then you combine that with the Patriots over exceeding expectations monumentally so far this year, and then you wrap it up in a bow with the fact that Brock Purdy is still playing out of his mind with nobody on the field. Slowly, these guys are going to start coming back. We might get Kittle back this week. It's possible. Ayuk will eventually get his shit together. Trent Williams will eventually get right. I don't think that the Pats defense or their offensive line is good enough to deal with the 49ers. I really don't. And I think that this is a big, you must have forgot who we are game. I think that I really think that they beat them up like by 3 touchdowns.
Hope you're right.
Yeah. So we're on the Niners, unfortunately, at a bad number. But I'm still fine with it. I think we're good.
Okay. We've got a really good. This is an exciting game. I did not have it circled before the season start, but this is going to be fun. The Commanders visit the Cardinals. Now the Commanders are getting 3 and a hook on the road. 50 is the total. We know what Daniels has done. The kid looks really, really special. I had a good note on him too. I hope I still have that note. Nah, I can't find the note. It was something like the Commanders were the first team, or the first time this team has done this. They've scored on every possession over 2 straight games. Are you kidding me? Like, this kid's doing special stuff. And on the other side, Mr. Fortnite himself, Kyler Murray, who has the worst body language in the history of the world, has been playing well too. So who cares about body language, right? He's got Harrison to throw to. He's got Wilson to throw to. Maybe he'll get Dortch going. James Conner needs to show up this week. Could see a lot of offense in this game, Keg. Could see a lot of offense with a couple of mobile running backs. And remember, I'm never betting Kyler Murray to go over his rushing attempt number unless it's 4.5, because he just runs 5 times every game, and it's like they tell him to stop.
The Washington offense is something, man. They have not punted the ball in 2 weeks. 2 weeks. That is so absurd that they haven't punted the ball in 2 weeks. Now, don't get me wrong. They've played 2 of the worst defenses in football, in the Giants and the Bengals, and they should have lost one of those games. But Jayden Daniels has been doing what it takes to move the chains and score points. Now, do I think that they can sustain that? A 0% chance. In my opinion, there is a 0% chance they can continue to look this good on offense.
So you think that they are going to punt at some point in time this season? Way to take a stand there, big guy.
No, what I'm saying is I think that they are over exceeding expectations wildly offensively. And like, we already know that they have the most garbage can defense in football, and it's literally not close. And eventually the Commanders are going to play a team where they do have to punt, and then they're in trouble. The Giants and Bengals basically averaged a first down every play and a half against the defense. Okay. So, like, they're going to start to lose football games. Don't go running out to smash the win total over on the Commanders at this point, because it's probably not going to work out for you. I'm surprised this line is as low as it is with how bad that defense has been. Everybody's talking about, how they haven't punted, and like literally on every YouTube channel that there is. But I think that the Cardinals are the side here, but more than that, I think the Cardinals score points. So I'm going to lean the team total over for the Cards. But other than that, game's a pass.
Okay. Couple more. This is going to be the most interesting one from an injury standpoint in the second slate at 4:00. Chiefs 7.5-point favorites on the road at the Chargers, which really means they'll have a home game. The Chiefs will in LA. 40 is the total. The Chiefs don't cover these big numbers, do they, Keg? And well, I mean, we've got more news today. This is not good news for the Chargers. Well, I guess the good news is that Herbert's out of a walking boot, but he had to leave last week. So here's what we got. He's got the high ankle sprain. I don't know if he plays, and if he does, how effective is it going to be? They lost Joe Alt, their starting right tackle. Huge. I'm talking about the Chargers here. Huge injury, right? Rashawn Slater, left tackle, injured. Okay. Joey Bosa, Derwin James.
Yeah. And and plus, like, that you cannot overstate that Alt injury and their other tackle too, because the Kansas City front seven is legit, man. Jones is going to live in that backfield on Sunday. So I screwed up this game. I should have taken KC earlier in the week when they were like 5.5. But
where did you see 5.5, Keg? I mean, this thing I'm seeing it went down from 8.5 to 7.5.
No, I think it early. I think on Sunday night the line was 5.5.
Okay, then it really moved.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
Meyer can confirm that. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I saw 5.5 on Sunday night. But anyway, I think Kate, you can only back KC here.
Mm-hmm.
But luckily for us, the side is teasable. So I'll have Kansas City in a teaser this week. With who? I'm not sure yet, but they will definitely be one side of my teaser.
Game was 7 on Monday night. That's what I thought, Iowa. And then I just went back through unabated and looked. Like it was what day was the 22nd? 3 days ago. So was that Monday or Sunday?
Yeah.
This game was 10. 10.
I don't know why I thought it was
10, 9.5, 8, 7.5, and it's just settled in at 7.5. So it's a big number. Now, last week it was 4.5, and then they saw Herbert get injured again.
Oh, maybe
just switched.
That might be what I was thinking of.
Yeah, that's probably what it was.
Yeah,
yeah, man.
But yeah, I think KC's the side here. I just don't know how that offensive line is going to be able to do anything against that KC front seven. And if the Chargers can't run the football, they are dead. So I think KC's the side.
We got one more game here. I do want to say we're not going to discuss the Sunday night game today. That's not what we do on this show. But Bills at Ravens, like what could be better than that? Seriously. Just what a game. 2 contenders alongside the Chiefs. You've got 2 amazing quarterbacks. I know you don't like Lamar. That's fine. We've got the defending MVP against the guy that's going to win the MVP this year. Although some would say Sam Darnold's the MVP.
I mean, we're 3 weeks into the year.
It's Josh Allen. It was Josh Allen preseason. He stays healthy.
It's Josh Allen right now.
Right now. Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
So anyways, we got a game coming up for Sunday, though. We're not breaking that game down. I just wanted to give a little teaser. Okay. Sorry about that, pal.
All good.
Browns, Raiders. Browns getting 2 on the road at Vegas. Like Gardner Minshew was a disaster last week. Aiden O'Connell's going to be the starting quarterback, and they're laying 2. 37 is the total. Really, really low gross total. Is that the lowest total on the board this week, Keg? Ugh. What a disgusting game this could be. And as far as the total goes, the total at 37, 89% of the money, 89% of the money is on the under.
Yeah, that tracks. That makes sense to me. Like you were like, hey, if any of these games are a total pass, just let me know. This game is a total pass. Too many injuries.
Yes.
I don't have any idea what we're going to get from either of these teams. Total pass.
Beautiful. I love it, man. That's it. We did the whole show. So on your way out, you have a laundry list of things to do. Very easy things, though. It should take you about 30 seconds at the most. Like button. Subscribe to our new YouTube channel, Nuke the House. If you have not tried us out for free, I recommend you do it this week. I'm feeling good vibes from Keg. I think the pre-flop and the live bets are going to crush this week. NukeTheHouse.com. And the code is NukeNFL. So subscribe for any plan. We won't charge you unless you want to be charged after the week. NUKENFL. What else is coming up, Kegger? I know we got our show tomorrow to preview Thursday Night Football. Me, Spread, and Zargo. And then that's at 4:00 Eastern. At 4:00 Eastern on Friday, Nuke the Props.
Yeah, so tonight at 8:30, Johnny and Tommy have the MMA podcast for the card. Tomorrow, you have the show at 4 to break down Thursday Night Football. You and I will be live tomorrow night. Tomorrow night. God, I'm losing track of the days.
Free show.
Yeah. Tomorrow night, we'll be live Thursday Night Football. Friday night, we have NASCAR Truck Series race that we'll be live for. Immediately following that, Coop and I will do the NASCAR podcast. And Saturday morning, Ray and the boys at 11. And then we will be live at noon because we have an MMA card that starts at noon. We have a NASCAR race that starts at 4. And we have college football going on throughout the day. So I'll be live for probably 30 more hours this week.
You got your cane ready?
Yep.
You got DoorDash on instant dial?
Always.
Well, then we're doing very good. Very, very good. Kegger, throw that graphic up, buddy. We're out of here. We broke down every game from Thursday night with the Cowboys and the Giants through the 1 o'clock and 4 o'clock slates in the NFL. For the Kegger, I'm Kush. Let's go nuke that house.